Right, hi YouTube and welcome to another video. Now in today's video I've come up to the Dartmoor National Park. Now for those of you that have been watching my channel for some time, you'll know that I'm pretty bad at getting to locations early. I tend to shoot sunrise and sunset, often at those locations just kind of before the events, not really giving myself enough time to properly explore and set up, and it doesn't always go 100% to plan because I am rushing. Today I've done myself a favour. I've come up to the Dartmoor National Park and it's about 11 o'clock now, and I'm actually going to spend a few hours just exploring a few locations today. The first one I'm on my way to now is WISTMANS Wood. It's this really nice old, mostly oak, kind of small forest woodland on Dartmoor. Now it's set in a little valley that's right next to a river, and it's very damp there, and the trees, although very small, they're very old. And because the kind of damp weather and stuff like that and the kind of river next to it have kept the trees kind of a bit damp over the years, there's lots of nice lichen. And also the trees are quite small and they've gone into these contorted, twisted shapes. Now it's a place that really lends itself to some really nice atmospheric conditions, some nice mist, some nice haze. Unfortunately we're not going to get that today, but hopefully I'm going to get down there and get some nice images. We do actually have some really nice clouds this morning. Quite overcast, but a lot of definition in those clouds, a lot of dark clouds as well as light clouds. Get some really nice kind of moody skies. Hopefully it's not going to rain. And once I've done this location, I'll be going to Nuns Cross Farm, which is somewhere I've been to before, but I've never videoed. And I've never really been happy with the images I've got there, but I'm hoping if we continue getting these lovely skies, I'm hoping we're going to get some really nice long exposures there. So hopefully it's going to be a nice little day out for me today on Dartmoor. Get some nice images in the bag. I've probably got about 20 minutes, half an hour walk to get to WISTMANS Wood, so I'll catch up with you probably in about, say, well, 20 minutes time, something like that, and hopefully get some cool images. I'll see you in a minute. So I'm at the entrance to the forest now, or the woodland. The sun's actually coming out, which I don't know. As long as we get some nice clouds around it, I think we'll still get this nice light or softbox kind of effect with a nice diffused light, so it should still work. But we are starting to get a few nice shadows in there, I suppose, which you could say is quite nice. This is the very beginning of the woodland. It's not a massive woodland, to be fair. If you could walk straight through it without getting anything in your way, you could probably get from one end to the other in probably 5 minutes, but it's really nice because we've got all these nice kind of granite boulders or rocks, which they call clitter on Dartmoor, I think, and we've also got a nice amount of moss and kind of lichen you can see on the trees around here and stuff like that. Granted, with this angle you probably can't see all the detail, but yeah, I'm just going to be making my way into the forest now, or into the wood, and I'm going to be walking around. It's going to take me quite a while. It's one of those places at which I have been, like I say, once or twice before, and I did do a video on it a few years ago, and it's really, really difficult stuff like this for me. I just find it like total chaos. There's some really nice compositions you can be had there, but there's just so much depth in the woodlands and so much kind of background. It's hard to get any isolated images in there. You really got to look for twisted trees, anything that's a bit unusual, anything that can give you kind of nice patterns in the image opposed to just like an isolated object, if that makes sense. That's why places like this do work so well if you do have some mist and some atmospheric rain and conditions like that, because it does really help to isolate objects and bring out some kind of softness in the background. I will be doing quite a bit of Photoshop editing on these images, but if I do that, I will show you the original, less edited version with basic adjustments. And I will show you kind of what I've done to it, because the effects I want to do might be a bit over the top, to be honest. Not everyone's cup of tea, but I want to try and emulate, see if you can get away with adding some atmosphere to images, even if you don't have it in the weather. Yeah, so I'm going to walk around now, see what compositions I can find. It's going to take me quite a while. Last time I was here, I was walking around for a very long time, so I won't be filming everything I do, but I'll catch up with you hopefully in not too long a time when I've got the first composition set up, and we'll go from there. Right, I found the first composition that I'm going to take a picture of now. It's a bit different. It's something that isn't really landscapey as such. It's more of a kind of a close-up detail shot, although it's nowhere near macro or anything. But I found this really cool twist. Now, a lot of the oak trees in here, granted you can't see the angle from there as well as I can, but it's a better vantage point anyway up there. Now, this tree almost looks like it's kind of all twisted and contorted, and there's a kind of few trees growing around each other. Now, it is actually one tree, and it's just the result of all this lichen and all this moss on the tree over the years have kind of sapped all the energy from it. And it's probably almost 1,000 years old, or at least several hundred years old, this tree. But it's not got very big at all. You can see if I stand next to it, I mean, it's for an oak tree. I assume this is an oak tree. Most of them are. I can't see any leaves on this one. It might even be semi-dead. Yeah, we do actually have a few sprouting at the bottom. It is an oak. So for an oak tree, obviously for that age, it is so tiny. And this is the same story pretty much around the whole middle of the woodland here, which is why a lot of photographers come to take pictures here. Now, normally I'd be a massive advocate of a tripod, but places like this, when the ground's uneven, they are often more of a hindrance than being any help for you at all. All I'm going to be looking at today, like I said earlier, is maybe a bit of creative editing, but also shooting with a long enough exposure that I can actually capture some kind of stillness, because it's quite windy, as you can probably hear today. We've got a lot of leaves rustling, a lot of leaves moving around. The trees are all blowing around, so we're going to be shooting with a high aperture, a quick shutter speed. I'm actually shooting with my Nikon AIS lens as well, which is an old Nikon lens from about 1984. They do fit on the Canons with adapters. Most Nikon lenses will fit on a Canon with an adapter. And this is a 1.4. It's a 50mm prime lens, and they are amazing quality for an old lens. So I'm going to be shooting with that today to try and get some soft backgrounds as well, try and capture a bit of detail in this. So I'm just going to set up now. 50mm is a bit too close to where I am now, or a bit too telly. So I'm going to come up to this rock. You have to forgive me if you can't see me. I'm just going to be doing a few different compositions of this, shooting quite a, probably around about f2, just to give it a bit of softness in the background. I'm going to be capturing some detail now, shooting at an ISO of 100, f2, 50mm obviously, and that's giving me a 400th of a second exposure. Simple as that. Now, this lens does produce some really nice quality images. I'm not going to film me rabbiting on anymore. This is the first location. I'm going to just move around a bit, see what I can get, be a bit creative, and I'll catch up with you at the next location, whenever that may be. So guys, I'm pretty much in the middle of this woodland now, and I just wanted to catch up with you very quickly just to show you some of the cool stuff you can get here. I'm not going to be setting up the camera here or doing any proper photography at this location. I just wanted to show you some of the cool trees, because there are quite a few of them around where I am now. You've got ones like this here where it's just a dead tree, which you could kind of shoot up to. A lot of really cool detail in that shot there. Very cool patterns. And you've got ones like this one here as well, which look really, really funky. It almost looks like a finger and a thumb kind of clutching something and a big index finger sticking up, or kind of a bit like an eye in a tree or something like that. There's lots of cool ones like that around. If you look all the way into the background here, you should be able to see a lot of twisted, unusual and kind of weird shaped trees and various things like that. Really, really, really cool woodland up here. Now, I'm not going to be bothered setting up to take a picture of any of these to show you anything, because I'm pretty much going to be going through the same stuff I did at the last location. I'm fingers crossed I'm still going to find a composition which I'm happy enough to set my tripod up and slow the stuff down a bit and just go through some of the shots with you. But cool location. You have to forgive me on this video. The images aren't probably, or not all of them are going to be edited that well. Try and pick a few favourites and put those in a nice little frame so you can see them and show them off. But there'll be a lot of slideshow type images going in this one. One of the main reasons I do these videos is to show off the area to you, and hopefully this video is going to do that regardless of how well my images come out. It was quite cool as well actually, because I was down on one of the footpaths earlier and for some reason there's just two bluebells on their own. One was kind of half dead, but the other one was still looking quite good, and it was just a really random, there's just one bluebell right on its own. So sometime in the past, I suppose it must have been brought there by someone walking past and just randomly got a stray kind of bluebell growing out the path there. But it was quite nice because I could get down, get a really nice isolated image of it. And I've taken a picture with my 50mm AIS. To be honest, I've had that lens on all the time I've been in the woodland. I took a picture at f1.4 just to really show off the blurry depth of field that lens can get, the soft backgrounds, the bokeh. They are a little funky at f1.4. You do get a bit of vignetting, which I quite like, but you get a lot of chromatic aberration, a lot of purples on the contrast and edges. But I'll clean it up anyway. I'll go through a bit of editing on that one and show that off to you, because I think that's quite a nice macro-ish image. Some nice detail in the bluebells. Yeah, I'm not going to rub it on anymore. I'm just going to continue working my way through the forest this way, see what I come across. There is a cool tree up that end, which last time I was here a few years ago, it did look a bit like a devil. It had like horns and two big eyes. Whether that's still there or not, I'll see if I can find it. There is a cool rock around here as well, which has some patterns on it. A bit like a granite boulder that's been cut in half. I think someone years and years ago must have chiseled a pattern into it. I've never ever managed to find it, to be honest. I have no idea where it is. If I come across that, I'll take some snaps. I won't continue rabbiting on anymore. I'm going to make my way this way, and I'll catch up with you shortly when I set up at another location. Right, now that's an entrance. Right, I'm going to be retiring the 50mm lens now. I've got some nice shots with it, but I'm going to try and get some on the tripod. Just going to be going to my 16 to 35mm. It's the sharpest one I've got out of all my lenses, and although 35mm might be a bit too wide, by cropping in ever so slightly, it's going to get to probably something I want anyway, without losing any of the kind of frame size really. So yeah, finished with that. I've got a really cool tree in front of me now. It's probably not the most twisty one around here. I just like the look of it. Now, I'm going to try doing a few different angles of it. The reason is because from here it just looks a bit like a slightly twisted tree. When I go up slightly that way or further up and get a better angle of it, or a different angle should I say, although it's annoying because I've got another tree getting in the way, it looks really cool. It looks almost like, and you've got to use your imagination a lot when you come to places like this, it almost looks like a load of like contorted hand, like a twisted digits off a hand and stuff like that, the way it's all kind of wrapped around each other. There is there's about 5 or 6 trunks that kind of branch off the main trunk, if that makes sense, a bit like a kind of a hand. But I think this is the one I want to try with doing some really effects with it and see if I can really bring in some mist. Again, it's something I've never tried. It's probably going to end up really bad, but it's a bit of an experimentation for me as well. So yeah, so let's crack on. No filters at all. To be honest, the sky, it is got a bit of blue in that sky now, and I don't really want that. But I'm literally just going to be setting on my composition now. Now it is, like I said, a very cluttered image, but hopefully it's something we can make use of. I'm going to be shooting wide open on this lens. Unfortunately, it's not going to give me nowhere near the blur that my 50mm did. But saying that, I have got some images with the 50mm, so I'll be chopping and changing between them which one I'm going to edit. So it doesn't really matter. I'll put down on the image which one I used in the end if you want to know. So yeah, a lot easier with this lens. Autofocus, the 50mm doesn't, it's all manual, and when you're shooting at f1.4, the tiniest movement, you're talking inches, even though something's quite far away, it does throw out the focus on a lens like that. Right, that's a nice image now because the sun has just been blocked by the clouds, and it's starting to get some nice kind of defined, or should I say diffused light on those greens in the forest here. Got a nice load of ferns which you can see all around me really at the bottom of the tree. Really simple image, basically focusing straight on the tree. That is giving me a 125th of a second image, really quick, f4, ISO 100. Not really much else to do with it than that really. I'm fully zoomed in at 35mm on this lens, and I'm just going to be taking a portrait image now. Remembering to have the spot metering because I'm shooting in aperture priority. There's no need to shoot anything else. Remembering to have the spot meter on that in the ferns there, because I want a nice evenly lit, or should I say I want a nice load of light and colour on the ground. I want some soft greens, don't want it to be too harsh. That's why now the sun's come back out, it's making it a bit too green. When the sun is down, we get that nice diffused light. We get some really nice tones in the greens in the foreground, and we get some really nice kind of evenly lit bark. It's a bit of an odd thing to say, but at the moment, because the tree's so contorted and twisted, we're getting a lot of shadows, a lot of highs and shadows on it. It doesn't look very nice at all. I will take some footage of this and everything I'm saying so you can see, kind of understand what I'm saying. But yeah, it's a lot nicer at the moment with that diffused light. Much preferring though those images to anything else. So what I'm going to do when I get back, I'm not going to go through my Photoshop editing because it's something I've never done before. It's going to be very tedious, very boring for you to watch. But I'll put these images up. Let me know what you think of the editing anyway. Just going to wait now for the kind of light to pass. Hopefully you're going to get this sun blocked by one of the clouds again. Hopefully get some more subdued tones opposed to the harsh ones we're getting now. Yeah, that's pretty much it really. I've got to make my way back. I'm going to make my way back through the forest, off through the woods, because I want to see if I spotted anything. I didn't find that devil tree that I said about. To be fair, it was dead a few years ago when I was here and it might have just blown over. But I do have a video of that's in, so I'll steal a little bit of that, the image of that from that, so you can see what I mean. That being said, it could well and truly still be in this woodland. It's just so chaotic. It's just a nightmare finding anything. So yeah, I'm going to continue doing this, get a few more composition. Thanks for watching this one. It's not really been the classic kind of go to location, get a kind of iconic or great image. This one's been a bit more of a morning exploring. It's been really interesting for me as well, because it's something I really struggle, woodland photography. Hopefully I've got some nice image, and I hope you've enjoyed it anyway, and it makes you want to come down here if you haven't been before. If you have liked it as ever, please give it a thumbs up, and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching this one. I'll catch up with you on one of the future ones coming up. Thank you.